Hey, let's talk some soccer. All right, so I just heard the craziest story about the World Cup, and I'm assuming since the Club World Cup is also a FIFA tournament, I think this is, unless they're not playing at SoFi Stadium, which I have to double check because I do know that the local games here in LA, I believe, are playing at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena. So maybe this is only something that we're going to have to follow up on in the World Cup next summer. But for those of you that don't know, there are very specific sizes and dimensions that FIFA requires for their fields. And I believe one of the things is like it can't be like artificial grass, and it has to be, I think, like a minimum of 100 yards long and like a minimum of like 75 yards wide. Something like that. If I'm wrong, you can let me know. But it's somewhere around there, and they have very specific minimums and maximums and stuff. But you know, the SoFi Stadium in Inglewood is going to be hosting some of the FIFA 2026 World Cup games. The problem is when they built this football stadium, although their plan was always to rent it out to concerts, they've rented out for WrestleMania, and now they're going to be hosting games for the World Cup. The problem is the inside area at the bottom of the stadium cannot fit a regulation FIFA size soccer field that they require for the World Cup. So what are they going to do? Well, obviously FIFA doesn't want to lose out on like the most expensive stadium or the biggest stadium in America or the world. I don't know where it ranks. I know it's brand new. I've been to it. It's huge. It's beautiful. If you have a chance to play games there, you're not going to not play games there. So that's not even an option. So what are they doing? FIFA has announced that they think the solution to this problem with the dimensions of the field, get this, is to make midfield 80 yards wide and the corners are going to be 73 yards wide. Here, follow me now. It's not going to be a perfect rectangle. If you ran a straight line from midfield, you would end up out of bounds, out into touch. The field is going to like curve in, and the end lines are going to be narrower. It's going to be a non-rectangle shaped field. So a lot of things that could go wrong here. One, is it going to look weird on TV? Is it going to look weird at the stadium? For the players that have been playing their whole lives, and you're a wide player, you know, you're a winger, what is going to happen when you're instinctually making your runs or you do a move to cut out wide and you end up out of bounds? What is going to happen? Because yes, of course, human beings are adaptable, professional, elite players, world-class players, they'll figure it out. But are we going to see instances where a guy just makes a run out of bounds because he's like, where the hell's the field? You know? So I think this is a really, really strange thing that's going to happen at SoFi Stadium next year at the World Cup. I don't understand why you can't just make it 74 all the way, 74 wide, why they had to go 80 and 73. I don't know. I'm going to research it more, and I'll have a follow-up video to find out more information. Maybe they'll change their mind, but this is outrageous. And this just goes to show you that FIFA is willing to compromise the integrity of the game as long as it makes money. Right? So we'd rather play in a stadium that is not even set up for soccer just because we know we'll be able to fill up the stadium, fill up all the seats, sell all the concessions, crazy prices for the tickets, but who cares if the players are dribbling out of bounds because where the field's supposed to be doesn't exist. So let's keep an eye on that. I'm going to research and see if they're having to make any other such compromises at any other stadiums for the FIFA World Cup. I know they're playing in Atlanta at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. I know the final is going to be at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. And I'm just, these are not soccer stadiums. Even though the Mercedes-Benz Stadium is the home field for Atlanta United, something that you have to know about American soccer is just because they play MLS games in a football stadium or in New York in the Yankee Stadium these are not regulation size fields. If you've never seen an NYFC MLS game, they play in the outfield of Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. It's probably visually the worst thing I've ever seen in my life, because the field is the size of a tennis court, basically. And if the ball goes out of bounds, it's on the pitcher's mound in the infield. I know why they do it, because they're in the process of building their soccer specific stadium in New York for NYFC, but they've been playing it at the Yankee Stadium for years, and it's a joke. It's a joke. No professional team should be playing small-sided soccer when they have to play in New York. The games don't feel like professional games. They feel like scrimmages. NYFC has won the MLS Cup. I think it's embarrassing that they still play in a baseball stadium. And I'm going to go out and say, without being able to confirm it right now, I'm pretty sure the Atlanta United Stadium, Mercedes-Benz, where the Atlanta Falcons play, I doubt that they're able to just play the World Cup games there without making modifications like SoFi, because both of these stadiums were made for NFL teams, and I know that at no point in their construction were like, in case we host the World Cup, let's make sure we leave enough room. Another thing to note, Atlanta United is a completely artificial turf stadium, so they're going to be importing grass on top of this. I think that Jerry Jones is having to do the same thing with the Dallas Stadium. I think that's artificial turf. They're also hosting World Cup games. So let's keep an eye on this. Let's see what kind of modifications they're having to make at these stadiums for the World Cup, and let's see if it impacts the games. We'll talk about it more as we find more information out and as we get closer to the tournament. But until then, we'll just have to see how it goes. All right. Talk to you later.